Hi there, I'm Bob Burridge. Welcome to Finding the Focus in Your Painting. 4 video lessons on Strathmore oil paper. It's fantastic stuff when you try it. This is lesson number 4. The last one was all about painting the floral still life. Remember that one? Where we made a mess, and you can turn it into a vase of flowers. And then we did some negative shape painting. That was a fun one. But this one is lesson number 4, all about color. Yay, color! And the finishing touches. Let's get out that color wheel and get started. So before we begin a painting, remember I do what I call the 4 C's. What's the concept? The letter C. What's the concept? Well, here we have a concept. These are my circus clowns in a series. Lots of them are circus people. It's a series. I always work in a series. Kind of keeps me going, right? What's the composition? Well, in these 6 here, the composition is a vertical. It's pretty obvious, right? Just a vertical. But these are the decisions you make before you get into a painting. The other decision you make before you paint is what's the color? What color combination? Well, here's my color wheel. I kind of made it up. It's a Munsell color wheel, but I changed the color slightly to match my Holbein oil paints. So this is kind of a variation on the Munsell color wheel, and it works for me. I only use 4 colors in a painting. I have my dominant color, and across from that is my focal point color. Then I have my 2 spice colors. Here's an example of what I mean. The dominant color is 80%, somewhere around that area. It's about 80%. But notice it's not just that green. It's green, but look at all the different kinds of greens in there. The color on this color wheel is just to tell me I'm in the green family. So I made it very dramatic, lots of contrast in there, right? And there's the greens that I'm working on. The focal point, it says so right here on my color wheel. Focal point, somewhere around the 10% area. And bam, one area, the focal point. You can't see it anywhere else. That's where you put the focal point. And these 2 arrows on this pointer are closer to the focal point, which means I'm going to put this color orange and this color blue close to the focal point. Focal point, and there it is. There's the color orangish, bluish. All right, you got it. And bam, look at the contrast on that. So now let me show you some more color combos. So here's another color combination. I'm going to say red. Red's my favorite big color. So I'm going to call that the dominant color. It says so right there, dominant color. So it's going to be mostly all red all over the whole painting. Now the color across from my color wheel, I only have 10 colors. I don't have 12 colors like the universal color wheel. This has 10. And this one, it was kind of a blue-green. So that will be the focal point. I know that because it says so right there on my little wheel. And the other 2 colors, notice, are close to this focal point color, are my spice colors. And a little bit of this color next to here, and a little bit of this color next to here. And that's what augments the whole focal point, in case you missed it. So I'm about to do one. Here's some small sketches of the same thing. The dominant color is red. See, on this particular one, it's kind of an opera singer with wings. And there's 80%, about 80% of that painting is the dominant color. But look at all the different colors I have in there. It's not just that one color. It just tells me that's the red family. Okay, the focal point right across from there is that kind of a bluish green. You can't miss it. It's right there. That's the focal point. And the 2 spice colors, just a little bit. You don't need a whole lot. Is this Kelly green, this green yellow. Bam, right there. And this darker blue. Bam, right in there, darker blue. And that's how that works. So that's when you're representing an image, a figure, a recognizable, like a vase of flowers or a person. I'm going to do an abstract. Basically, they're just going to be color blocks. All right, just to show you how this works. It works for me, so let me show you how it can work for you. So here I have some red. It's going to be dominant color is red. Get some red oils in here. Woo! Really a juicy red. I put a lot of thinner and medium in my oils. I like how it glows and flows. There we go. See, dominant. It reminds me of going to the opera, and the curtain opens up, and the entire stage set is all kinds of reds. All kinds of, I mean, we even applauded. Yay! We're applauding the stage set, all these reds. And now, the real reason we came to the opera is to see that diva. And you know what color she's going to be wearing. She's going to be wearing the spice color. And here it comes. Whew, can't miss that. She's the diva. There we go. See, variations of that blue. It doesn't have to be exactly that blue. Not exactly. Now the two spice colors, just like in the opera, you have what was called the buffoons, comic relief. And out come the two court jesters. One is going to be wearing this color. Here we go, spice colors. They augment her. They come out and they sing a little bit of aria with it. Oh God, let's get more of that color. There. An aria. They start singing this aria with her. And then, but not for long, you got to get them off stage. She gets quite upset if you upstage her. I've heard that they get their panties in a bunch. Oh, those opera singers. There we go. So pretty strong painting. Leaving just like that at this point. I might bring some dark reds down in here just to show you. Whoa. And some lighter reds. Why not? There we go. So there you have it. Dominant color 80% red. Blue's the focal point. About 10% of the surface. And the two spice colors to augment the star, in case you missed her, is this green and that darker blue. That's how I start off. Now let me see if I could do something a little more recognizable. So for this painting, it's something more recognizable. I've been working on these circus clowns for a long time, and I thought maybe I'll just continue doing one of those too. Notice here we have the dark to light. There's my Rembrandt painting. Light to darks, lots of contrast. So this will be my circus performer. Dominant color is this purple red. Here it is. I even laid it out on the table so I could remember. Dominant red. The color across from it will be the focal point. Well, somewhere in here, that's going to be the focal point. Okay? Because I want my eye to go there. And the other two colors, the spice color, the blue and this yellow. There's the blue and the yellow. And lots of little piles of white. I'm ready to go. So the dominant color. Look, it's close to that color. Here we go. Whew. So circusy, huh? Short, choppy strokes. This will be the mid-tone already. There we go. And now the darkest dark. More of this gel medium. The gel medium helps it to dry a little bit quicker. It just starts to glow. See, that's my darkest dark. Now I'm going to get the lightest light of that dominant color. There's the darkest, and here comes the lightest. dark to light. I'm going to go in with pure white. Pure white. It's like the circus floor. Spotlight. There you go. And now the focal point, the green. It's a circus uniform, right? He's like a ringmaster. There you go. About 10% of the surface is that wonderful green. Now comes the fun circus decoration, so to speak. So we have this blue spice color. Maybe I'll use my fingers on this one. Just a little bit to augment the green. See how that works? Now the yellow. The yellow. Add a little bit of white to it. Makes it more opaque. Oh, look at this. Woo! There we go. And I'm gonna give him a little green hair. Why not? He's in the circus. So there's my recognizable subject matter, a clown, with using 4 basic colors right from my color wheel. Works every time. I stick with the color wheel, lots of contrast, and 1 focal point. Let's do another one. Yay, another one. Here's one you might recognize. We did one in our earlier lessons. So the dominant color here is yellow. I put it in that spot. There's this dominant, 80%. The color across from it will be that purple blue. That will be the focal point. And the 2 spice colors this time will be that purple red and this spicy green blue color right here. Alrighty, so let's get started. Dominant. Even though we have the darkest to the lightest, I'm going to give it some more. Kick it up a little bit. There we go. The circus, it should be happy and bright. Dominant color. There we go, the dominant color. Whew. Good, you can still see the circus ring down here. That's good. At this point, I want to switch over to the purple blue, the focal point color. Let's get into the focal point color. Here it is, the focal point. A little bit more white in here. Whew. Boy. She starts to glow. There you go. And again, you only put the focal point one place. Don't put it somewhere else or the eye's going to go back and forth, back and forth. I'm adding some of the dominant color, yellow, to that blue. Give me a little bit of a greenish color, of course, right? That helps to make it glow. It helps to make the yellow glow. There we go. Now to go into this color, the spice colors. Spice colors. Here we go. Whew. Now that's going to be close to the figure. So it doesn't actually have to be on the figure. It could be behind the figure. There we go. There we go, something like that. Look how that looks so great. Well, again, I love how it glows. Now we have that color, the purple red. Now the other spice color. spice color. Wow, such a great color. It's nice and dark and rich. Not too much of it, just 5%. Don't want to upstage. There we go. And nice and rich. Wow. And one more thing I'm going to do is put some white in the face. There we go. There we go. Dominant color is yellow. Focal point is this blue. And the purple, rather the pink and the blue spice colors right behind it. There you go. I can't keep my fingers off it. This is so much fun to work on this Strathmore oil paper painting. Look, it stays flat. It acts just like a canvas. Has the texture of a canvas. The best part is it's ready to go. I can just open up my pad and there are the 3 convenient sizes ready to go. I don't have to get out all my other stuff. A great way of looking at this is to always put it on a discarded mat or a larger piece of white paper. That way you can see how she looks and you get rid of all the other stuff around it so it isolates it. That way you can just see the painting and admire your beautiful work. And for the finishing touches, how to tell if your painting is done. Pretty simple for me. If it matches the criteria or if it matches the original title. I don't keep changing my mind throughout a painting. And also, is it a clear message? Hey, try these lessons in your own studio. By the way, wherever you paint, call it your studio. If you paint in the kitchen, I'm going to go into the kitchen and do some paintings. If you paint in your garage, don't call it the garage. Call it your studio. I'm going to go park my car in my studio. And if you share your garage studio with someone else, put some tape down the middle on the floor. And that's their side and this is your side. You'd be surprised how no one will step over that tape. And that works for me. And make what works for you too, okay? There's no right, there's no wrong, you know that. Paint with the best art materials, I always like to say. Surround yourself with the best stuff. It's going to make your job so much more enjoyable, okay? Hey, this was fun. I really enjoyed doing this and showing you what works for me. I'm Bob Burridge, and this has been Finding the Focus in your painting.